from the outside looking in, some might think, oh, he's made it, or oh man, I've seen him all these, features and spots at this point, and they think you might have just like popped up like voila, like here I am, and not realizing the roots that are deep.
Yeah.
We were talking the other day about this proverbial iceberg that folks don't really see.
Yeah.
All that you've put in on the bottom of that in the foundation. We'll get back into some of the VO and like the Wakanda Forever spotting and all that. But talk to the side of being a voiceover actor, the things that people maybe aren't aware of or don't see.
I mean, I get that a lot, and like it just feels like you came out of nowhere, and then you just started launching, and you're doing this and you're doing that, and you're constantly working and this and that and the third, and it just happened for you. And it's like, I promise you it did not. When I discovered my love in 10th grade, when I discovered my love for voiceover, the first thing I did was I told you my dad's a pastor. Mm-hmm. I went to the church. I stole the bass amp that nobody was using, but it belonged to the church.
He said, I permanently borrowed it.
I grabbed it. I said, Lord, you know my heart. It's in my home. I will bring it back. No, I grabbed it. I took a microphone and kind of an XLR cable, and I took it home. Didn't tell nobody. I put it in my dad's trunk. Didn't tell nobody. Drove home, la 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 la, smiling. Look at this, the window's nice, and it's a beautiful day we have today. Waited for my dad to get inside. Moved everything inside through the garage. Got it in my room, and I remember every night I shut the lights off and just like hook it up and read into the microphone. Just, I would read whatever I want. I was like, what would I sound like if I was doing something for WWE? WWE SmackDown. My voice was really high at the time. WWE SmackDown versus Raw. Or I would do commercials. McDonald's, only $9.90, whatever. And I would just random commercials in the dark because I didn't want anybody to know that I was working on this. They just heard rumbling in the room. They were like, what is going on? What's happening? Is he playing a movie or something? No. And I would do it over and over and over and over. I was obsessive over trying to get the read down. Now, I didn't take any classes, I had some acting background because I was in musical theater in high school, but I didn't have any sort of like, no one sat me down and said, let me show you how to do voiceover. I was just like trying to figure it out.
Right, nothing formal.
No, nothing formal. Nothing. But my music ability inside helped inform the ability to hear what I was hearing on TV and replicate that.
Sure.
So I'm listening. I'm like, okay, he did that. All right, let me do that. And so I would do that for months and months and months and months and years. And then I got comfortable enough to say, okay, now I want to start auditioning for stuff online. If there was these websites you can sign up and then audition for voiceover projects.
Yeah.
I had no business doing that, okay, because I didn't have the money. It was $399 a year, and I took my dad's credit card, again stealing, but God knows my heart. And I paid my dad tenfold.
My man is low key
just
building a criminal career on the side.
Grifting. Y'all didn't know that, man. Y'all, I
He's like, I got it out the mud. I don't even like mud.
Yeah. No, man, it was crazy. But I took my dad's credit card. We didn't have nothing, but I was like, bro, like if you just give me this chance, and I did it, and I started like auditioning for stuff, and I started booking these online jobs, and so I was able to kind of pay my dad back with that money, but also make some money for college and books and stuff like that. And I was like, wait. And then I started making a challenge for myself. I'm going to try to see if I can book something once a month. Now that is asking a lot. You're talking about 12 jobs a year. That's a lot. Some people don't even get one. It's so cutthroat.
And how many auditions go into booking once a month? I mean, that audacious goal you had, you probably didn't realize what.
It takes 100 auditions, you may get one, and you're doing well. You're doing well.
100 to 1 ratio is doing well.
You're doing great.
Wow.
If you get 2, you're crushing it. And so my goal was to do that. I was auditioning. I didn't have representation just yet. And I started booking once a month, and I was like, okay, what if I do it once a week? And so I started just upping it and getting better. And so what I would do is like right before I did my auditions, I would get on there was a website called iSpot TV, and they have like all these commercials that are airing right now on this website. You can search them up. So I would search up Coca-Cola, Okay, that's the read that's winning right now on TV. Okay, I need to copy that and see if I can apply it to this script, this audition that's on this website. And so I would listen, copy the style of the read for it, book it. The next one, listen, audition, nah, didn't work. Okay, fine, next one. And so I would do that over and every morning at 9 o'clock, at 9 o'clock to 9:30. That was my slot time in college, to do that over. And it started to become a rhythm where I started working a lot and I started getting clients and stuff like that. And then I was able to go to an agent and say, yo, I did this on my own. I would love to partner with you. And they were like, gosh, all right. So you
sure you need me?
Well, you're 22 and you're in Dallas, Texas. We don't typically sign people who are not in LA or New York, but we'll give you a shot. They brought me on, and I booked in the first month. It was a thing for Spike TV. It's no longer around. It's a network.
Yep.
They had UFC on there, and I was the promo voice for Bellator NYC on Spike. And it was mind blowing to my agents because, again, I'm 22 years old and I beat out someone who was a GOAT in the industry. So they were like,
who is this?
What is going on?
Yeah.
You're doing promos, union promos. So I got drafted into the union and all this and that's when it started the snowball effect. But that came from many years, a lot of the nights with the lights off in the room, watching videos, doing what I was talking about. All those things built up to that moment. It wasn't out of nowhere.
So going from early days to submitting those auditions to beating out a GOAT, it reminded me of the other day I was thinking about this. The NFL draft happened a few months ago.
Yeah.
And athletes who have been looking up to these, amazing all-stars and Hall of Famers, future Hall of Famers for all their lives, and then they realize before they know it, they're on the other side. Right?
Yeah.
They go from admiration to competition.
Exactly.
So what's that been like while you still have, clearly you're a student of the industry, up and coming, at that time, up and coming name. What is that like?
It's bizarre. It's bizarre. It's very humbling. And I don't, to this day, although we are in competition with each other, there are certain GOATs and folks that I look up to that we are competing for the same things that I don't feel like we're competing.
Sure.
In my mind, I'm like, they're going to win this. It's always they're going to win this project. And when I do manage to win it, I'm like, whoo, because I don't see myself in a way that I'm better than them or I'm like, whatever. I'm like, those are the GOATs and I'm just happy to play in the same pond.
Wow.
And sometimes I'll have conversations with some of them and say, hey, dude, I get the humility. You're good too, and you belong, and you're just as good, if not better. They'll tell me, a couple people will tell me that from that circle, and it's like to receive that. It's like, oh, I don't know about that. I don't know.
A little bit of imposter syndrome, a little bit.
100%. That's that's the constant battle, and it's just kind of like, I don't know. Thank you, but no. I revere you guys as the prototype because the reality is I've studied you to get to where I'm at today. And so I don't know if I'll go that far, but yeah, it's an interesting feeling of now going from admiration to also joining the club and playing in that space. And yeah, there's imposter syndrome that follows that, but there's also times where I know there've been many moments in my career I was like, no, I belong here. This wasn't a fluke. Like, no, this wasn't a thing where it's like, oh, by accident, we just went with this kid. No, like I did something that demanded my presence in this room. And when you find those moments, because they don't happen all the time, we go through moments in life where it's like, we feel like we're on top of the world. We feel like we're at the bottom of the world. And we feel like we got it. And there's ebbs and flows. But when you catch that moment, I always like to write it down in a journal and I will have a timestamp of this moment, why I felt that way, what happened. And I like to detail that so that in the days that I am at rock bottom, I can reflect and be like, what was it? Because at a certain point, I felt like I was there. I felt I belonged. Why? Okay, let me read. Oh, that's what happened. Okay. Or I was feeling confident in myself. And then you start to separate what you do versus who you are. Because that's the key too, is like making sure that you don't allow the thing that you do to define you.
And how do you get to that point?
A lot of accountability. I've got a therapist. I go to church.
There you go.
And by God's grace, I have a loving wife that helps me keep that in check. There are things that you have to, like even life stuff of being a husband and tapping into that and being intentional about that. Not only being a husband, but also like life instances like my mom passing away, where you realize this stuff matters. Like this, the human connection and our relationships, the gifts that God's given us in being with each other, that's what matters versus all this other stuff. Like we're chasing this stuff just to die. You know what I'm saying? You're going to get all this money and you're going to do all this and you're going to rush, and have a heart attack and you're gone? What for? And then what did you leave behind?
Right.
Who did you leave behind? What connections? What
did you build?
What did you build? What was your perspective? Unfortunately, it took that type of a loss to realize what there is to be gained in staying connected and grounding myself. There were moments where like prior to my mom's death where I was like, hustle. And this is what I am. And what am I without this? And I need to continue growing and I need to continue first this mountain, then the next, that mountain. And it never ends. It never ends. And I've been very blessed that my work has gotten me, a lot of financial success and all of that stuff. But I tell you, it does not end. Now you start worrying about like, what if that leaves? And then what if that's gone? And then you start counting your treasures here. And you're like, you know what I'm saying?
It's something.
It's something. And so when that moment in my life happened, it helped me reevaluate a lot of things. And it's a daily choice I have to make. It's an intentional choice because our flesh is constantly about just the gluttony and the greed and the more. It's just kind of the default state, it seems like. And you have to constantly, if you read your word, renew your mind. Right? And seek first the kingdom of heaven and all the other stuff, it's added. It's added if you are in that way. And so I've had to really be intentional about my word and again, grounding myself in community, my family, and boundaries.